Everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem, we got to daven at Nate's today. And we're in Hilchos Tzitzit, and Halacha Gimel, letter Yud Zayin. Yud Zayin. And with Siyata D'Shmaya, let's continue. All right, so we left off yesterday. Vayidei Miyat where are we up to? Vayidei Miyat HaYereach. Yeah. Shu Bechinas is Gabras Bechinas Mokim. So let's just review a moment. We had a phenomenon yesterday. Reb Nosson explained to us really the first thing that went wrong in creation. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu had creation, Sheish made Bereshis. So the Yereach had a claim against, and he said they can't have two kings with one crown. So really that was so what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? L'chi u'ma'ati esatzmech. Right? Go and make yourself smaller. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the Shemesh, and he made the Yereach, the moon and the sun and the moon. And really, we're learning this concept of Makim and L'malam in Makim. So when you're in Makim, right? If you're in Makim, you're in a specific space. You can only fit so many things in that space. Right? You can only put so much in the cup before it'll spill over, right? But if you're l'malam in amakim, right? You're l'malam in amakim, so then anything is a possibility. The Yereach said to Hashem, hey, look, there's not enough room for the two of us. He was the first one that said that there's not, but wait a minute, why isn't there room? The Rebbeinu Shalom is Mekayimai Shalaylam, Ve'en Ha'olam Mekayimai, right? So that means if HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the moon and he made the sun, they could actually be together. They're not in the world. The sun and the moon are not in the world. They're not in this world. They're not in this place of Makim. They're in a place of, there's plenty of space. Space, they even call it space. They even call it space. Interesting, right? No, so that was the first thing. So then the moon was made to become smaller, which allowed for the possibility of gullus because of darkness. Where did gullus come from? Darkness. Chazal tell us what? The darkness is compared to the gullus, right? The light is compared to geula, right? This is what Chazal teach us. So that means if the moon would never have came and complained to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that there's not enough space for us, and there's really everything was okay, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what he's doing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just created them. So if Hashem made them, Hashem knows what to do with it, right? He knows what to do with it, right? You know, I'll give you a silly mashal, a mashal for the nimshal, right? You have a car, right? So you buy a car, let's say you bought a Toyota, okay, for example. So what are you going to do with the Toyota? You're going to have a problem with the Toyota. You're going to take it to a Kia dealer? Or are you going to go to Peugeot? No, you're going to go back to Toyota. Why? Because they know what to do with it. They made that thing, right? So they were trained and they know it. So if HaKadosh, that's a silly example, right? But I'm just something. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just made the Yereach, he made the moon, the sun and the moon. So why would Hashem know what to do? What are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? So that was the first thing. If we wouldn't have had gullus, then other Mauritian, the next thing was the earth, the trees. They decided they're not going to do the right thing. And then Adam decided he wasn't going to do the right thing. And then that's why we're here today. It all started with the moon, though. Most people don't know that. Most people say, well, it was Adam. Yeah, it was Adam. After it was the tree. After it was the... Right? Interesting. Is that an interesting concept? You ever heard that before?
No.
But it makes sense?
Yeah, but we do have a concept of ein shnei melachim shamshim beketer echad, right?
That's what he said. That's what the Yereach went to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he said that. Who made him a melech? Who made the Yereach a melech? Did Hashem crown him? Did Hashem crown the that was another thing. He took covet for himself. When was he crowned? In creation, was the Yereach crowned? So why did he say two kings can't have one crown? Who said you're a king? True or not true? Mm-hmm. Interesting concept, right? Very interesting. Okay. So now he says, the Yereach was this thing I've mucked. I'm stuck in this place. I can't get out. I'm stuck here. I can't get... This started with the moon. Who would have ever thought of that? Rav Noson's amazing. Mishama chizas ha-sitra achra. That's what the sitra achra tells a person. You're stuck here. You can't get out. You're never going to get out. This is the way it is. Get used to it, buddy. That's what the Yetzer Hara tells a person. Get used to it, buddy. You're stuck. But that's not true. It's a trick of the Yetzer Hara. It's all in the mind. The Yetzer Hara plays with our mind. All because of the miyat hayareach. Ki koydem u'ata haya laila kayayim yoyer. Because at night, before this situation happened, the night was as bright as day. There was no separation, no differentiation between day and night. They were the same. Right?
So what's it for?
What do you mean, what's it for?
What was it for?
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The Kasha Moon is asking, like, what's it for?
Wait a second. You know, there are places in the world today that you have all light.
Yeah.
Right? All light. And that's a strange concept. When you go to a place like that, whoa, what do I do with this place? What do I do here? Right? How do I deal with this? But why does Hashem leave such places like that in the world? Why? Why did he have it? Why is it not darkness everywhere and light everywhere? You know, some places always light. Why? At some times. To teach us this idea. It can work. The people there function. Do they not function in these places?
They drink a lot, but it's all right.
No. The people, there are those that live and they figured out how to live.
They do function.
They know how to function. They can function. You know, we have over here, Baruch Hashem, we have these tracim, right? That's wonderful. You close the trace, you don't know if it's day or night. You don't know anything. It could be bright daylight. You close that thing up, you don't know from nothing. True? Yeah. There are ways to do it. But that's what is, in other words, it's all geula. Light is geula, darkness is golus. And that's cheshkas laila. Laila kayayim yoyer. V'cheshkas laila ze'ika pegam hanechaz b'v'china zman. It's all about time. Time, Hashem created time. Hashem made time. Time was a creation from Hashem. Hashem made zman and he made makom. We were saying yesterday the concept of zman and makom. What was the zman? HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches us when it comes to Rosh Hashanah that there's no time. Why? Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, right? No, Chazal say it's not 2 days. It's a Yom HaRichta. It's a long day. It's a long day. But what do you mean it's a long day? There's day, night. What is this? No, it's a long day. Remember we learned that yesterday, right? So what is that? That's an aspect of L'malam and Azman. And then we said the Beis HaMikdash, Eretz Yisrael, there's places that's L'malam and Amokim, right? When we take the Omer Tenufa and they waved it, that was lifting up the Mokim to show it's all L'malam and Amokim. You don't have to stay there. Ki olam hazeh hu bizman shenimshal lalayla. Ki olam hazeh shehu bizman shenimshal lalayla. Va'olam haba shehu yom shekulei orach l'malam me'azman hu nimshal liyom. How do you like that? When it's light, it's a concept, it's a gullus concept that we have grained in our brains. That you need to have darkness. It's darkness, that's what it is. No, but we say Shabbos is going to be a time, we're going to learn in a minute, it's going to be kulei or. Kulei or. There's not going to be darkness. We don't need darkness. The Yetzer Hara tells us we need darkness. We don't need darkness. We need light. Light is geula. Light is the Torah. You know, we learned in the lessons before, when you see the sun outside, you go outside and it's a sunny day. So you say, wow, the sun is strong today, right? The sun is strong today. Really? How about Hashem's light is strong today? Where is the sun getting its light from? Where does the sun get its energy from? How does it keep continuing to exist? Hashem gives it its light. Hashem gives it its power. So when you're seeing the sunlight, you're actually seeing Hashem's light manifesting itself through the sun.
Isn't there something beautiful about nighttime, though?
Huh?
Isn't there something wonderful about night?
Yeah, there's something wonderful about night. When you get up at night at Chatzos, and you say Tikkun Chatzos, and you turn the night into the day. That's the night that we learn about that. That's nice about night. The night is divided into three sections, right? The Gemara in Brachos teaches us that, right? The first section is given, Hashem gives over the night to the Meitranusa. right? To the matron, whatever that means, right? And that's why we have in the world, when it gets dark at night, and then before Chatzos, that's when all the stuff happens, and the parties and all of the garbage happens in the world, because that's a time that there's a Hester Panim in the world, because Hashem chose to put a Hester Panim in the world, because He wants Bechira. All about Bechira. It's all about Bechira. But we learned that we're supposed to go to sleep early, get up early, wake up the day. So not that the day is waking you up. You wake up the day, and not that the day wakes you up. Those are our lessons a couple of months ago. All right, so I'm just reviewing. So yes, night is beautiful. It's tranquil. But when you take the night and you do something with it, the night you don't have to use it. The night, it's a different concept. The world's view, and what's ingrained in our minds as kids when we were growing up, based on the Western society, Western civilization, right? But it's not the Torah way. That's not the Torah way. We're learning that a full day, when it's all light, is much better than having darkness, because that's the time of Olam Haba. That's the time that we're waiting for Mashiach. That's what's going to happen. Mashiach's going to come. Mashiach is going to come hopefully today.
So what was the inyan of the moon?
Huh?
So what was the moon's inyan? It's a good question. The moon's asking. Maybe it's not coming from just a pleasant guy. It's like, well, what do you need me for then? What do you need me for? You got a whole system going on. You need light.
So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the moon and the stars, right? They all work with it. They all work with it. No, listen. The moon did have a valid. He didn't come. He didn't really. It wasn't a place of chutzpah or anything. And that's why when we bring a soil Hashem on Rosh Chodesh, you know that, right? Every Rosh Chodesh, one of the kabbanas was a soil Hashem. Why we bring a soil Hashem? A Sar is a chatas, right? A Sar is a chatas. When we bring a Sar Hashem, Chazal tell us, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I may have made a mistake. This is Hashem. Again, this is based on Chazal, not based on what I'm telling you. This is Chazal. Hashem says, really, the moon had a good complaint. He didn't come to me in chutzpah. He asked a good question. The moon asked a good question. And Hashem acted a little hastily. That's what Chazal say. Again, that's what the soil Hashem is. Or else, why we bring a sar for Hashem? We're bringing a sar for Hashem, not soil Hashem. What do you mean soil Hashem? It should be soil strong. Sar for us, not for Hashem. That's the reason why. You ever hear that before? No, it makes sense? Does it make sense? So yes, again, we're defining. We're not. Look, the moon. Did it make a mistake or not? Let's not discuss. We're just discussing the concept based on our lesson of this concept of makom. When we are living our lives, a Torah life, we are not in makom. We're not in makom. We're lemalim in a makom. We're connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as Rabbeinu Shalom is Mekoi Mai Shalaylam. So since He is the place of the world, He is the world, and not that the world is His place, anything is possible. Because with Hashem, anything is possible. So too with Klal Yisrael. When we are connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we then take on the aspect of Lemalim and Amakim. We take on the aspect of Mekoymai Shalaylam, and then anything is possible for us to do. But when we're stuck in Makom, that's where we get in trouble. When we feel this is the way it is and I can't do anything about it. I'm stuck here. Then when Mama's stuck, then the Makom becomes like quicksand and pulls the person in. Make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Nimsa. So let's see here. The whole tools of the Yetzer Hara, the Sitra Acher, he works with us is Itzman and Mokim. Listen, you're in this place, you can't get out of this place, you're this age, what are you going to do? You're going to change now, you can't change. This is all the tools and the tricks of the Sitra Acher. That's all his tricks. Hainu, shenismait hadas. He tries to lower our das. What's our das? Connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chaynein hadas. We were learning about animals, right? Animals don't have das. An animal is beli das. There's no das in an animal. right? Why do we have to bring a carbon? We learned this week also, we'll just review a little things. Why should I noticed I did something wrong. Shabbos, I forgot it was Shabbos, and now I have to bring an animal for a carbon. Why? Why have to bring an animal? What did the animal do? Why do I have to bring an animal? We learned because the person had a lack of his knowledge. He didn't have das, that it was Shabbos. He didn't have das. Not having das is similar to an animal. Animals don't have das either. They act on instinct. So if I don't have das, if I'm not thinking about Shabbos and I'm acting on instinct, then I'm acting more like an animal. So therefore the Torah says, okay, good, you acted like an animal. Go get an animal and bring an animal. And make sure you understand, when you bring that animal, you say the vidui, and you have in mind that this animal's instead of me. Because I didn't have das. The whole idea of the Sitra Achra is to take away our das. He doesn't want us to recognize Hashgacha Pratis. He doesn't want us to see Hashgacha Pratis in the world. It's all happenstance. There's no such it's like a molek. Right? It's all mikra. It's mikra. It's not, there's no Hashem. That's what they say. That's the Sitra. These are his tools. You can't, it doesn't allow us to take my place that I'm in, and I'm not confined here. I'm not constricted. I can rise up above this place. I can be higher than this place. I don't have to be stuck over here. Uzman. I could make my zman, I could take time out of my day as much as I want and steal time from my day in order to be a Eved Hashem. Let's say a little more Tehillim, a little more Esbaidus, a little more davening, a little more Torah. It doesn't matter. That's what I do. I take this zman. Before the miyut of the Levana, it was all one. Everything was great. Everything was great then. Everything was light. Everything was bright. You saw the Rebbeinu Shalom. You saw Hashem. Al came b'mei ha'omer. Sh'oz malin u'makashvin ha'mokim uzman l'malam and ha'mokim uzman. Right? At the time of the Omer. What we're doing is we're getting out of the tumah of Mitzrayim. Meitzar. Right? Mitzrayim is the Meitzar, constriction, confinement. I'm getting out of that. And I'm shedding off one level of impurity, one level of non-das, and I'm putting in another level of das. Each day I'm on the Omer. That's how I can get out of the tomb of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim said, you're stuck here. You're not getting anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're stuck in this situation. Oz malin pigima salavana. So then we can fix the pagima of the Levana. We can fix that blemish that the Levana caused. We can work on that. And Klal Yisrael is nimshalut Levana. Why are we compared to the Levana? Why? Because the same way the Levana waxes and wanes, and it gets smaller and it gets bigger each time. That's what that means. So to a Yid is always having aliyas and yeridas. Always aliyas and yeridas. And this is why we have to understand that. And then we learned why did Chazal institute that you would make Kiddush HaChodesh when the moon is at a sliver. It's the smallest point. And then we're going to say it's Kiddush HaChodesh. Why couldn't they just made it that when the moon is a full moon, everyone knows clearly that it's a moon. Everyone knows that. That makes say mekudesh. Why do you do it when it's so small? So we learn because you have to be mechapetz and nekudesh toivus. You have to look for that. Even though I feel so small, there's still something good in me. There's oid ma'at. There's a little bit good that's still inside of me. That's why we compare to the Levana. We are connected to the Levana when we lift ourselves l'mala min hamokim, l'mala min hazman. When we do that, we help the Levana that we're compared to. We help the Levana fix its pagam. Therefore, we count 49 days. That's the complete cycle of the Levana. Interesting idea, right? 49. Yeah, because if you do the math, why? If you do the math, 29, and sometimes it could be 30, right? So what is that? 29 and then 30. 29 and 30 is 50. Oh, it's 59, right? 59. So what is he saying? So let's see. Do I have a note on that? That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I'm sorry.
I mean, I would think the cycle is 29. Like
Balkein Seifen Abon V'Teisha Yom Shezeh Bechinas Mili Alavana. We have a Mili Alavana in the 49, but why we have to? Okay, Tzarech Ian on why we need the 49. Okay, Tzarech Ian on that. Let's go to the next piece. Okay, with Tzarech Ian on that, or we'll get back to you on that in Hashem. Yud Ches. V'Zeh Bechinas Sheva Shabbosais Kidei Shekol Yoim Mishivas Yemei Bereshis Yeh Nichlal B'Shabbos. That okay? Here we go. So we know. Bechina Sheva Shabbos. So that when you make the Sphira is we say it in the L'Shem Yichud before. It's 7 weeks, right? 7 weeks means you have 7 Shabbosim. 7 Shabbosim are found within the 7 weeks. Ki Shabbos hu bechinas lemala me'azman lemala min hamokim. Shabbos is an aspect of this. Lemala min azman lemala min hamokim. Right? In other words, on Shabbos, it's l'malam min azman. In other words, I prepared everything. I'm not worried about. It's Shabbos. It's wonderful. Bechinas uveirachli mikol hayamim v'kidashti mikol azmanim. Hashem blessed it from all the days and all of the times. Shabbos hu mevayrech umemroimam l'malam mikol hayamim v'kol hayamim v'azmanim. Shabbos is high in all the days and all of the times. You know, I remember that there's a thing that on Shabbos, people will have a coffee in the morning before davening. They'll take maybe a what do you call it, a rugelach or something. They'll eat something, but during the week they won't do that. Why is that? You ever think of that? Why Shabbos? Why? Because you tell me because you go to shul later. It's a longer day, so I need to eat something. If I'm not supposed to eat before davening, I'm not supposed to eat before davening. It makes no difference what day, how much time it is. So the answer is like this. The answer is that really during the week, the foods that we have are much lower than us. Food is low. So I need to daven. I need to build up my I need to be fortified to make that bracha, to be able to lift up that food, to lift it up. Otherwise, the food, if I eat before, it can pull me down. Okay, but when it comes to Shabbos, the food is on a higher level than even me. The same food. I could have had, Rabbi Weinberg uses the example, you can have a meatloaf in your refrigerator from Tuesday, and it comes Friday night, and you take the meatloaf. So you think that's the same meatloaf. That's not the same meatloaf. Yeah, it may look like the same meatloaf, but it's not. Now that meatloaf is much higher, because it's Shabbos. It's Macholei Shabbos. Macholei Shabbos are much higher. So therefore, because Macholei Shabbos are much higher, if I make the bracha, the food will lift me up. In other words, normally the food will drag me down. But when it comes to Shabbos, since the food is higher, the food will actually give me a lift. It'll lift me up to where I have to be. Make sense? Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Unbelievable understanding. Because they remember saying this al pasuk, v'loy echad bahem. Al Shabbos. And there's nothing like this. Ki Shabbos gamkein. Kimu berish Rashi Sham zeh bechinas lamala min azman. V'chein Shabbos u bechinas lamala min hamokim. How is Shabbos bechinas? It's lamala min hamokim. Shoz mekashin amalin kola mekaymas lebechinas lamala min hamokim. Shabbos we have to make our shvisa, right? We have a shvisa, right? Wherever you are on Shabbos, you have your tchum Shabbos. You can go till that. So that's the mokim. Bechinas al yetze ish mi mekoymai b'yayim hashvi. Don't go out of where? Your mokim. Don't go out of, but your mokim is now l'mala min hamokim. This mokim is l'mala min hamokim. Look what he says now. Ki kol echad koine shvisa b'mokim b'sheshavas. Wherever you set up your camp on Shabbos, you have your shvisa. That's where you stop. Right? You could be in the middle of the desert. You could be in the middle of wherever you are. Wherever you set up your shvisa, wherever that is, that's where you can go your tchum Shabbos from that place. From that place. Ki hamokim shoymid boy kishemagia yoyim haShabbos niskadesh b'kedusha Shabbos. That place that you're in is sanctified with the sanctity of Shabbos. How do you like that? Is that amazing? That's why our homes are so much more special on Shabbos, right? Because our homes have the sanctity of Kedusha Shabbos in them. It's unbelievable to understand this. It's not the same house. It's something special. It's something special. It has Shabbos in there. When was this said? Moshe Rabbeinu, remember? You know when? By the snap, right? Shal nalecha, right? Take off your shoes because this is Admas Kodesh. Because he was standing there. The Jew was standing there. Admas Kodesh. Ki amokim niskadesh v'oilin niskadesh l'bechinas l'malim and amokim. Because the place can now leave the mokim, the quicksand. It can go l'malim and amokim. It can have kedusha in it. When you infuse kedusha in your bias is not the same mokim that it was. It becomes l'malim and amokim. Anything's possible there. You understand? When the person uses his house on chas v'sholom for doing the wrong things, chas v'sholom, chas v'sholom. So then, what's he doing then? He's using that bias and he's pulling it down. He's pulling it down. But if your person infuses a Torah views in his house, and he brings the Rabbeinu Shalom into his house. And we know when a husband and a wife are together, the Shekhinah is beinayim. We know that the Shekhinah is there too when the Shalom Bayis, right? We understand that, right? Because all places go up higher when it comes to Shabbos. Everything is different in the world. Everything. Oh wow, unbelievable. Oh wow, the Siddur Shel Shabbos, right? So we know that he would always walk a little higher on Shabbos. He wasn't walking on the ground because he mamish lived this. He understood that Shabbos is l'malam and amakim. Tzaddikim understood this. A beautiful sefer Siddur Shel Shabbos. I don't know if you ever saw it. Wow. Okay. V'zeh b'chinas kol ha'ma'aneg es Shabbos noisnim loy nachla b'li mitzarim. Wow, how do you like that? We say that in the Zmiris, right? Look at these words. Kol ha'ma'aneg es anyone that delights in the Shabbos. I don't know what better word to use. Is that a good word to ma'aneg? The delight?
Delight.
You want to use it? You have another word you want to use? No, that's good. You like that one? Okay. He delights in the Shabbos. Noisnim loy is given to him. What? Nachla b'li mitzarim. He gets his nachla, his part, his place in this world. B'li mitzarim. He's expansive. He's not stuck. He's not confined. Fascinating. Zeh b'chinas l'malam and amokim. That's what it means, l'malam and amokim. B'li mitzarim. B'li mitzrayim. Meitzarim, any constriction, confinement. She'ein sham shum meitza v'dachai. There's no confinement, no constriction. Shezeh b'chinas nachlas Yaakov shenema by ufaratz the yama v'keid matzafayna v'negba. We know the words, beautiful things that were said by Yaakov Avinu. You're going to expand everywhere. You'll be everywhere. You're going to expand expansiveness. Ufaratzta. Beautiful word, right? You'll explode, right? You'll explode everywhere in the world. It's Hashem. Because Yaakov Avinu was a person living l'malam and amokim. Bechinas vayufka b'amokim. When Yaakov Avinu, he happened on that place. He came to the place. You know, where was he? He was on Har HaBayis. And the next thing you know, he was over there in Chor. Vayifka b'makim. And he came to Chor. No, that was actually when he came to Har HaBayis, right? Vayifka b'makim. He came to that place. But we know, right? Yeah, but he had over there Kvitza Tzaharetz. The next minute, you know, he was in Chor. Where's Chor? And it's how many kilometers? What?
Turkey, lower Turkey.
And how many kilometers is that?
Few.
400, 500.
It's even more than that, probably. More than 500 kilometers.
I guess you're right, yeah.
From here to Turkey?
It was like...
About 1,000.
It's probably at least 1,000. Okay. Also, he was l'mala min hazman. Bechinas vayolin sham kivo hashemesh. Yaakov Avinu for 14, he was learning in Shem ve'ever. He didn't go to sleep, but over here vayolin sham kivo hashemesh. The sun set. It's a fascinating idea. We could have a whole shir just on that. He didn't have to sleep, but now he had to go to sleep. Shaloi ba'oinsa. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't but
Not in its time.
in its time, right? Okay. Zeh bechinas lamala min azman. Lamala min azman. K'may shem Rabbeinu zal b'mokim acher ki Yaakov haya bechinas lamala min hamokim lamala min azman. Yaakov Avinu was living his life lamala min hamokim lamala min azman. Zeh bechinas Shabbos, and Yaakov Avinu was this aspect of Shabbos. Everyone have a lechtig, a wonderful Shabbos. Kol tov, everybody.